in my domain. Got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane. It's over before you know it. While you shaking, we're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty. Now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over for the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for race number 16 of the season of the fourth season of the NNSCRA Pizza Hut X Series. Including today's race, only 5 more races remain in the regular season before we determine the 12 drivers that will battle in this season's Pizza Hut X Series chase for the championship. The Pizza Hut X Series is back after a well-deserved off week. Last time we saw these drivers was at the road course of Watkins Glen, in which Joshua Osborne picked up his first win of the season, as a result, put his name in the conversation for one of the 12 available spots in this season's playoffs. Will we see someone else add their name to that list here today? Only time will tell. Right now, out of the 12 playoff positions that are available, those 12 playoff spots are currently occupied by two-time winner Scott Roush. He's the only multi-time winner right now that would currently be in the playoffs. One-time winners that would make it in include Chris Dollerton, M McIntire, Jordan Lopez, Joshua Osborne, Seth Cole, Mark Davidson, Charles Jackson, Justin Tucker, who starts on the outside of the front row here today, Yin Canario, Carson Gum, and the final spot right now would be held by D Shears. A couple of drivers that have wins that right now would not be in the playoffs with where they're situated in points. A Eisestein, 29th in the point standings coming to this race, but she is a total, I believe, if my calculations are right, of 18 points behind her teammate D Shears. And then N Hudson, he's a 2-time winner this season, but he comes into this race 31st in points. So outside of the top 30 in the standings means that right now, those 2 wins would not count towards a spot in the playoffs. The good news for him, though, is he is only 6 points back from 30th in the standings, Jessica Miles. So with a good run, or a good couple of runs here during the course of the final regular season races, Hudson still has a chance to get back into the top 30 in the point standings. For A Eisestein, like we mentioned, comes into this race 18 points behind D Shears, but if she, with starting off third here today, is able to bring home a second victory this season, she leapfrogs all of those other one-time winners and would move up into a tie for the first seed with Scott Roush in terms of the playoff grid. But there's still a lot of other drivers here in the field that are running well in the point standings that don't have a win. If they go to victory lane, they put themselves up into one of those slots. Drivers that are like first through third in the points, Angel Navarro, Chloe Ericsson, Steve Morgan, they're still looking for their first win of the season. Fifth in the standings, Jay Jefferson. Sixth in the standings, Quentin Moore. All these drivers have a 0 in the win column. And if they go to victory lane with where they're running in points, they could very well confirm themselves a locked-up spot in the playoffs this late in the season. Let's go down and get the command to fire them up here at Rockingham, North Carolina.
Drivers, start your engines!
It'll be 40 laps of racing here today, and the big story, if you didn't see our Tax Lawyer Truck Series race, is grip. Grip is going to be key here today for these drivers to try and maneuver their way through the field and hold on to the top position. William Brock starting on the pole position. Brock looking for his first win of his Pizza Hut X Series career and first of the season. Let's give you your top 10. The points coming to this race, presented by Golden Corral. Angel Navarro, the points leader, 25 points in hand over Chloe Ericsson. Steve Morgan, the highest running rookie in the point standings right now, is third in the standings. Fourth is Scott Roush. Fifth, Jay Jefferson. The rest of your top 10 are Quentin Moore, Chris Dollerton, M McIntire, Jordan Lopez, and Phil Parker. Joshua Osborne, after his win last week, jumped up to 11th in the points. Good starting track position for him as he'll roll off on the outside of row 2 in the 4th position, rather. Here we go then, ready to go racing here at the Rock. Green flags in the air, let's roll. Let's rock and roll. Now, in terms of the grip issue, the biggest area where we saw the problems take place in the truck race was off turn 2, and it looks like the first car to hit the wall there out of turn 2 was the two of Audra Baranauskas. For some reason, I was looking at the 3 car, and I was wanting to say the first name of the 3 car. Oh, another car up in the wall. That's Jake Rogers. Hangs on to it, though, as Eisestein out in front. Mark Davidson, our Charlotte winner, moves into 2nd place. Ashlyn Boyd, former playoff contender last season, now up there in the 3rd spot. And James Shelly now up to the 4th position. So there's a couple of drivers, the 20 and the 71, trying to look for their first win of the season, as well as the 27 of J Qualls, trying to make it back-to-back weeks where a Joanna Atwood Motorsports car goes to victory lane. He's now up to 5th. Single file up here amongst the top 4s. So let's head back here to 5th place, where I think there's the best battle brewing. As soon as I say that, they're single file. Qualls in 5th, McIntire 6th, Flickinger 7th, 8th Phil Parker battles on for 9th. Charles Jackson has it, Joshua Osborne wants it. Then behind them, G Sydnor to the inside of Carson Gum, our winner from Iowa. Carson Gum now battling with Scott Roush as Osborne going to try again to get the spot away from Charles Jackson. That would be for 9th place. Right now, coming into this race, Osborne has himself in one of the playoff positions. And like we mentioned, Season 2 was the last time that a Joanna Atwood Motorsports car was in the playoffs. It was the last time that a Joanna Atwood Motorsports car went to victory lane. Back in Season 1, James Qualls was the only entry for the team, and he went to victory lane twice. Season 2, Qualls and Osborne were 2 entries who both went to victory lane 2 times, so a total of 4 times for the team. But all last season, the team went winless. James Shelly here in the 71, after Carson Gum went to victory lane, is now the one of 2 drivers for Backmarker Motorsports yet to find victory lane this season. The other one being the 78 of Christian Merrick Jr. James Shelly, I believe, was back in Season 2, was a playoff contender. Went to victory lane 2 times, his most recent victory back in Season 2 at Indianapolis. Shelly finished out that year 6th in the point standings. Last year, when he made his debut for Backmarker Motorsports in the number 71, he finished out the season 19th in points. Never went to victory lane, but he did have 7 top 5s and 9 top 10s. Fast forward to this season, it's not exactly been the best of years for James Shelly. 38th in the point standings and only 1 top 10 finish. Looking very good right now. Another driver that had a good season last year was Ashlyn Boyd. 2 trips to victory lane. Those 2 trips, the only top 5s Ashlyn had last year. He finished out the year 8th in the point standings overall. Fast forward to this season, Ashlyn Boyd coming into this race, 32nd in the point standings. 2 top 10 finishes, and those 2 top 10 finishes were in the top 5 as well. But a 0 in the win column is Ashlyn Boyd trying to get to the inside of the 29 of Mark Davidson for 2nd. Not going to be able to do it, as Aubrey Eisestein continues to show the way. Like I mentioned, for Aubrey, if Aubrey can get a 2nd win here today, she'd move it to she's in the top 30 in the point stands, and she would leapfrog all those other drivers that have 1 win. All of the Michael Norman Motorsports cars have gone to victory lane here this season, with the exception of the 5 of Phil Parker, who's currently running in the 8th position. Eisestein, Dollerton, Shears, and McIntire have all gone to victory lane. For 2 of those drivers, McIntire and Eisestein, it's their first Pizza X Series win of their career. Looked like there might have been a battle brewing for third place, but Ashlyn Boyd got a nice run there off of turn number 2 on the high side to hold on to the spot. Shelly was looking low in turn 1. James Qualls right there is both the Joanna Atwood Motorsports cars with good runs here today. Qualls in 5th, Osborne right now in 9th. And there is Matt McIntire, no doubt having a career year. Picked up his first career Pizza Hut X Series win this season. He's currently riding 8th in the point standings. I believe he also is the driver with the most poles this season, 2 in total. Everybody else this year has had a pole only one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No. Highest driver with poles this season is actually Ashlyn Boyd with 3. Matt McIntire has 2, as does Ryan George. They both have the second most. Charles Jackson, Carson Gum, a couple of teammates running right there in what would be, I believe, 11th and 12th. Jackson 20th in the points coming to this race. Carson Gum in 25th, both just trying to maintain inside the top 30 in the points, so their wins will count towards a spot in the playoffs. Been a lot of rumors circulating around a couple of teams like Michael Norman Motorsports and Seth Cole Baker Motorsports up in the Hershey's Cup Series in regards to a lot of these developmental drivers for the teams down here in the Pizza Hut X Series going to victory lane and potentially maybe getting one of the charters for next season if they finish top 5 in the Pizza Hut X Series chase. It's Kyle Langeland now to the inside of Carson Gum. He'll move up to the 12th spot. Now looking for more. He'll go to 11th. And he's bringing Chris Dollerton in the one with him. Dollerton, another driver who is definitely having a career year. Dollerton's best season before this would have probably, I guess, had to have been back in season 1. He went to victory lane twice, but he did not make it into the playoffs. He finished out the season 23rd in points, if I recall correctly. Once the playoffs began back that year, he was outside the top 30 in the point standing. So his one win that he had during the regular season did not count towards a playoff position. That one win came in Bermuda, and then he ended up winning during the chase, getting his second win, which was at Chicagoland, the season or the chase opening race. Phil Parker changed for position, makes his way by Z Flickinger in the 96. And we're having some positions change now, as I guess with this run going on, drivers are losing grip. Joshua Osborne made his way around teammate James Qualls. That was for 5th. Matt McIntire moves to 6th, so Qualls back to 7th. Not really much going on up here at the front, though, in terms of drivers swapping for positions. Eselstein's opened up the gap by about 8/10 back to Mark Davidson, with Ashlyn Boyd and J Shelly right there in 3rd and 4th place. The thing that will probably be interesting to see is if these drivers are going to maybe have to make green flag pit stops. Now, we didn't have green flag pit stops really, so to say, in the Tax Slayer Truck Series race until right near the closing stages, where a number of drivers had to come to pit road. And that was with having one caution. We haven't had a caution here in this one, so drivers haven't been able to utilize pacing laps in order to save fuel. So, that being said, these drivers may have to start thinking about making some green flag pit stops here before this race is over. Great run right now for the 29 of Mark Davidson. Davidson out of William Brock Motorsports, 17th in the point standings, got that win here in his rookie season back at Charlotte. And looking very strong here today. Looks like he will very likely make his way into his first chase for the championship in only his rookie season. He's going to drop back, though, from 2nd back to probably 5th as Ashlyn Boyd, James Shelly make the pass for 2nd and 3rd, and now Joshua Osborne will move into 4th place. Great run there for that 70 car following up his win 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen, and he wants more. But they got that car set up for the long run. James Shelly going to go for 2nd on Ashlyn Boyd, and Joshua Osborne right there as well to move on by. And now we're going to see maybe with the 29 not out in front of that second group there, maybe James Shelly, Joshua Osborne, one of these guys can reel in that 3 car. We heard Osborne out of the throttle there out of turn 4. Something tells me that he's got a real good car on exit, but he didn't want to run into the left rear quarter panel of James Shelly. Now, Shelly back in season 2 said he was a 2-time winner. His first win was at Kansas. His second win at Indianapolis. This track is not really in any way like either one of those two tracks. The gap between himself and Aubrey Eisestein actually kind of maintained itself a little bit with that battling that went on for second. About 1.7 seconds from the 3 back to the 71. Let's see if the gap closes up this time at all or not. You got to think Aubrey Eisestein, with the gap she's got, has got to be saving just a little bit. As we have a car coming off pit road, that's the 25 of Jessica Miles, and that could be the indication to spearhead green flag pit stops here. Miles coming into this race in that critical 30th position in the point standings. Got cars on pit road, including James Qualls in the 27, Mark Davidson in the 29. Those are a couple of drivers that were top 10 in the running order. And I believe we just had a couple other drivers hit pit road as well. Quentin Moore just left pit lane. I believe the 20 of Ashlyn Boyd was just on pit road. Justin Tucker just hit pit lane and is now leaving. And it looks like our leaders are staying out for the moment. But this race, it looks like, is going to come down to green flag pit stops, nearing the 10 to go mark. So let's see about the 3 of Eisestein. Looks like she might be coming this time. Nope. Anybody from the front coming to pit road? Doesn't look like it yet. There's Hudson in the 11. We mentioned that he's trying to get back in the top 30 in points. He's right now scored in 11th place. But all these leaders at some point are going to have to make pit stop, I think. I don't see how they can make it the entire rest of the way if we had a number of drivers already hitting pit road that were up inside the top 10 in the running order. A couple of teammates right there. Dodges out of Fitzwater Australia Racing. Langeland in 7th. Olson there in 8th place. Behind the Houston Astros Chevy of Chris Dollerton. This race being recorded on MLB's opening day. So I'll be watching some baseball here today after recording these races. Don't look now, but Shelly's closing the gap between himself and the 3. I don't know if the 3's saving fuel or not. But if these drivers don't have to pit, we could have a doozy of a battle for this race win on our hands. It was only 0.4 of a second separation from Eisestein back to Shelly and Osborne that time by. And as we hit the line, there's 7 laps to go, so still plenty of time for Shelly or Osborne to make a move. Shelly looking for his first win of the season. Osborne looking for his second. Aubrey looking for her second. The gap that time was closed up by about 1/10, and I thought I heard someone scrape the wall. I guess we're okay as Daniel Olson back there got by his teammate Langeland. That was for 7th. And Shelly closing the gap. Here comes the 71. Big run on the front straightaway as you heard the 3 car lift off corner. Here comes Shelly for the lead. Gets to the inside. Can he get the exit off the corner? And now Joshua Osborne up in this mix as well. He's looking for back-to-back wins. Wait a minute. 71's coming to pit road. No, there's a wreck. There's a wreck up ahead here. Caution is out, I think. Yes, it is. Caution is out with 5 laps to go. Will this race end under yellow is the question. Cole Deaver on the apron. He was involved in whatever it was. And now this is going to be a very interesting last few laps. Will we get back green? If we're going to, these drivers will probably have to come to pit road here unless they can save enough under pacing. And if they do get back green, it's going to be a doozy of a restart. 5 laps to go when they hit the line to come and receive the yellow flag. Shelly was the leader. Osborne was second. Eisestein in third, as they all kind of had to check up out of 4. They saw the smoke and didn't want to get involved in the wreck. Looks like the incident was out of turn 4, and it looked like then the incident continued over to turn 1. Shelly does not come to pit road. We'll come back and see if we go back green or not, but for now, let's see what brought out our first caution here in the closing stages of this race. And this shows just how close it's going to be on fuel, because this is the 7 of J Shears that we're focused on here. And watch right here. I think he was trying to slow down to get to pit road. Couldn't get slowed down enough. And you see right here, everyone just closing in on him so quick. I think he was out of fuel at this point and gets run over by the 15 of Cole Deaver. Nice avoidance there by James Qualls. Close call there. Jake Rogers, nice job. Ryan George as well. Cody Llamas got a piece of it, though, with the left front into Cole Deaver. And J Shears' car came to a stop on the racetrack. He couldn't get the car refired because it was out of fuel. So kudos to NNSCRA for throwing the caution for that, regardless of the fact that both the 15 and the 7 spun. And then let's see what happens up here in turn 1. Oh, looks like it might have been the 48. 48's up and into the wall. And yeah, right there, wall just kind of sucks him in. He can't get off of it. And rear wheels lock up, spin him almost around, and that's where the smoke was in turn 1. So the 48 of Cody Llamas, who got a piece of Cole Deaver after the incident between himself and J Shears. But now the question, James Shelly, Joshua Osborne, Aubrey Eselstein, can they coast enough fuel to make it the rest of the way, or will we get back green and drivers run out of fuel on that last lap if we get like a one-lap shootout? We're going to find out. Don't go away. Alright, we're coming around here. It'll be 2 laps to go when they cross the stripe. If the lights go out, we're getting a one-lap shootout to finish this race, and the pace car lights are out. Oh my. A one-lap shootout to decide this race. These drivers, how much did they save here under this caution? James Shelly, Joshua Osborne, Aubrey Eselstein, M McIntire, and G Sydnor. That's your top 5. Dollerton, Olson, Langeland, Gum, and Parker are your top 10. None of these drivers were on pit road under that green flag run. They are going to be so close on fuel. This is going to be a really interesting restart on this last lap. Out of the race are the 3 cars we saw involved: Cody Llamas, Cole Deaver, and J Shears here in the closing stages. And some drivers getting trapped a lap down due to having to pit under green. Ashlyn Boyd, Jessica Miles, Mark Davidson, along with Quentin Moore, James Qualls, and Justin Tucker. So we've got 33 cars still on the lead lap, and let's see who's got enough fuel to make it to the end. We'll race back to the checkers no matter what. James Shelly waiting on the flagman. Green flag's in the air. 1 more lap to go here at Rockingham. Sydnor, I think, is out of fuel. The 24 is out of fuel. He's trying to get out of everybody's way. Tucker up and into the wall. Osborne on the back bumper of Shelly. Will they make a move here into 3? Shelly throws the block low. Out of turn 4. Do they have enough fuel to make it to the stripe? Yes, they do, and James Shelly will get his first win of the season here at Rockingham, and I think the 70 just ran out of fuel coming to the line. He got second, but I think he may have just coasted. I think he put the thing in neutral and let it coast across the line there, coming to the checkers. But James Shelly becomes the 4th driver this season from Backmarker Motorsports to go to victory lane, and maybe for the first time since Season 2, James Shelly may be able to get himself up into a playoff position in this season's chase for the championship. He's 38th in the points coming into this race. The gap between him and 30th in the standings is somewhere around 60 points. So he needs really good runs in the upcoming 4 races to get up into the top 30 in the standings, but at least he's got one of his goals completed here, and that is a trip back to victory lane. Well, that was kind of nerve-wracking there in those closing stages, though, of whether drivers were going to have enough fuel to make it that one final turn around Rockingham. Shelly brings home the win, though. His 3rd career win of his Pizza X Series career. Joshua Osborne, a great run to follow up his win 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen, as he'll bring it home in 2nd. Aubrey Eselstein will finish in 3rd. Boy, that caution came out maybe a lap or 2 too late for her. If the caution had come out when it did, she would have still been in the lead, but at the time the caution came out, Shelly had already gotten by for the lead. Matt McIntire will bring it home in 4th place, though, with Chris Dollerton in 5th. So 3, 4, 5 for the Michael Norman Motorsports Chevys. Great runs for all of them. Daniel Olson and K Langeland, those teammates, with a great run in 6th and 7th. Carson Gum will finish out the day in 8th. G Sydnor was able to just barely get enough fuel to get back to the line for a top 10 in 9th. And Phil Parker will complete out today's top 10. I believe that will move him further into the top 10 in points as he's still looking for his first win of the season. Jordan Lopez, 9th in the points coming this race. Great run for him in 11th. Jay Jefferson, C Ericsson, 2 consistent drivers in the top 10 in points, still looking for their first win, but great consistent runs here today in 12th and 13th. N Hudson, we mentioned him trying to get back in the top 30 in points. A 14th place finish might have done it, but he needs to stop doing the fluctuation of good run, bad run, good run, bad run, because we're getting close to the end of the regular season. He cannot afford to still be on the precipice near 30th in the points heading into M Super Speedway. But he'll get 14th and clean the top 15. Great run there for Christian Merrick Jr. in the 78th. The rest of your top 20 were Scott Roush, Eli Bright, Diego Yepez, Charles Jackson, and Alex Gray. As you look on down through the remainder of the finishing results, we had 33 cars finished on the lead lap. The other drivers that finished off the lead lap were pretty much in part to the start of green flag pit stops and that caution coming out before the pit stops had completely cycled around. Most notably, Ashlyn Boyd, J Qualls, and Mark Davidson, all at the time, were running up inside the top 10 when those green flag pit stops began. And then only one caution here today due to a driver running out of fuel in front of the field. And that wreck took out 3 drivers in the closing stages of this race: Cody Llamas, Cole Deaver, and Dougie Shears. That's going to be big for Dougie Shears, finishing dead last because he came into this race 26th in points, and he was only about 20 points ahead of 30th in the standings. So it's going to put him down near the danger zone, I do believe, our Rio race winner. But that's going to do it here today from Rockingham. J Shelly gets the victory here today. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, to become part of the crew today. We have shown your full finish results. These are your rookie point standings and your overall point standings heading into next week, where we will be going back to the track that started out this season. It's our second trip to the 2.5-mile Super Speedway, Daytona International Speedway. We'll be under the lights racing there. We still got to finish out this weekend from Rockingham, though. Hershey's Cup Series action will be coming up next to cap off this race weekend before we see all 3 series at Daytona. Getting down to the closing stages of this season for sure. After this race, we've now only got 4 more stops before we determine this season's chase for the championship of the Pizza X Series. Who's going to be in? Who's going to be out? We'll find out next time, as you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.